So that's the first thing to keep in mind. These terms, these sort of marketing terms for this movement, weren't designed by people who feel safe, who feel protected by the police. So the language didn't come across probably as very shocking.
Right.
But the main thing about defund the police is that it's really about reallocating money. So for instance, here in New York, the NYPD has a $5.9 billion annual operating budget and another $6 billion on top of that. That's just pensions, retirement funds. And none of that money covers the lawsuits that they incur when they brutalize people. That's actually covered by taxpayer money. Every time a cop gets sued, every time a cop gets sued, we pay for it.
Right.
And
right.
that's
it's
qualified
not
immunity.
even part of all that budget, which if you do look at a breakdown, Jen, Teresa in our group chat had sent us that breakdown of the budget money for where she lives. And that was the little blue bars. It just like right there puts it in such perspective that schools, and then police. They all
fit inside of police.
Yeah. It was like, I was like, yeah.
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 And so defunding is really about reallocating that money into the services that prevent you from needing the police. It's also about taking the police off of calls that aren't really, don't really call for a police officer, for somebody with a gun and handcuffs.
Yeah, the police
which is a lot of cases that they get called to.
Right.
Exactly.
Their job is to fight crime, not go to mental hygiene arrests, family nonviolent disputes. Right.
Absolutely. Or if they do go, they should be a secondary source. They shouldn't be the people sent there to de-escalate a situation.
Yeah, they're just not trained. They're going to shoot. They're not trying to help.
Well,
right.
I mean, I have a few friends whose kids are police officers, and they're my kids' age, 26. They all grew up together. And I mean, these are great kids, great kids. But I mean, I see a lot of these, I always think of it like some of these cops that have been on the street 15, 20 years, I think that the job, it just like gets to you. And I believe like they shouldn't be out there that long. They should bring them in. And
well, that's one problem
them.
Down here. Right. One of the problems down here, the NYPD says that they need all of that money because they have officers working so much overtime. To me, it seems like somebody with a gun shouldn't be working overtime. Like they should go to sleep.
And I feel you. I feel the same way though about the ER doctors. You know, like I said,
absolutely,
my friend's daughter,
absolutely.
She's in there 20 hours delivering babies. She's going to, be a gynecologist, but it's like she's not sleeping.
Right.
I'm like, do I want it's same thing? I mean, it's someone's life in your hands.
And I want to clarify too. It's not a matter of whether all cops are bad or all cops are good, or even individual officers. It's about whether or not departments adequately train and test the force, continue to train, and if they're sent into the right kinds of situations. So it's really for the safety of officers. I feel for all of the families who are saying that they're scared for themselves or for their police officer family members. Mm-hmm. My uncle is Rochester PD. He was NYPD before that. My stepbrother and his wife are both sergeants in the NYPD. My uncle is white. My brother and sister are black. And they may have very different perspectives of the force, but they're both police officers, and all of their opinions are valid, and all of their fears and all of their families' concerns. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something we also forget when we talk about military families. Not all military members and their families have the same experience in this country. So they can very much be dedicated to fighting and serving, and still not feel that they're being treated equally. And we should give them even more credit for stepping up under those circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, my friend, she's my best friend since kindergarten. Her son's a police officer, and she called me during when they were really like rioting here. We had like 3 straight nights. And Rochester was.
I have to send you the picture. My uncle's car is in one of the photos next to a dumpster that's like blazing.
Yeah. So I mean, it you know, and she called me up and she was like, she had been home drinking wine and she's like, well, my son's out on riot duty. I don't know. This is horrible. She was just like, he's such a good boy, and he came home and after the George Floyd thing, and he said, Mom, I want you to know that I would never. She goes, you don't ever even have to say that. I know the man that you are. You know what I mean?
And I want to say again, it's really, I think because race is involved, people get confused and think that if a cop brutalizes a black person, it's because they're racist. It's because the institution of policing. Exactly. And somebody will say, well, that proves that it's not.
Colors when it comes to that. I mean,
it's the institution of policing. And that's where we go back to abolish the police and the people who are in that camp. And again, we're thinking, well, how do we get rid of the police? We've always had the police. We have to have the police. I'm less versed on what all of those other options are, but it really comes with closing down the department that exists and reinventing it with a new budget and a new way that it fits into society.
Right.
I don't think anybody on the abolition side, except for very extreme people, are saying, let's fire all the cops today and figure out a plan tomorrow. But I
have a friend who believes that, and then I have a friend. Listen, Ashley, I've got a lot of friends. I'm in comedy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us and a lot of different opinions. And I love every single one of them, whether we agree or disagree. That's what it's about. It's about learning from each other. You know what I mean? And I have the one friend, she's just like, fuck the police. Nobody better call the police. Like, she's like, nobody better call 911. I don't care what's going on. Don't you ever, whatever. Then I have my other friend who she was over Saturday night, and I was having a debate with her, and she believes the police should be abolished in the military, or they should be trained like the military. She claims that there's a big difference in between. She's a military 20-year vet. The way she was trained and the way they trained the police with like the neck hole, you know, the choke holds. And she's like, but I mean, Rochester Police Department, I think we have a great police department here. And my friend said that when she was going just recently with her son the last 4 years, they had counseling for the family members too, everybody. You know, and they told her,
like, once they were starting to be a cop?
Yep. And they said, you're going to notice your son's going to change. And these are the things you need to look for. Like, they brought everybody in and got everybody involved before he graduated, the families.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah. So and I have heard, like, you know, other people who said that they've got it pretty, you know, doing it right. But who the fuck lets you put knee on someone's neck? Like, is that a maneuver?
You know, recently chokeholds were supposedly banned in New York State, right? But chokeholds were already banned in New York City when Eric Garner was murdered. Yeah. So it really comes down to training, experience, and when cops are put in certain situations. I mean, if it hadn't been so important for that cop to arrest Eric Garner for selling loose cigarettes, he'd still be alive.
That's the loose cigarette. Yeah. And then who was the one that was selling CDs? Is that terrible?
I don't remember. It's terrible that there are so many stories like this. Honestly, some of them I can't even allow myself to look at because think about the Black people in your life when these videos are going around, because they're experiencing them in a really more visceral and traumatic way. And it really compounds everything. But I mean, I think that for the safety of the police, for the safety of people who aren't police, everybody else, right? Something needs to change, because if enough people are afraid of the police or don't believe in the police, then the police don't work. right? You have
Yep.
to respect the police. You have to feel that they are safe in order to call them, in order to allow them into your community. So even if you just look at it as an optics issue, like, you gotta change. You have to change.
Yeah. I don't care about
Mr.
that shit.
Monopoly going to see Hamilton.
It sucked, and I left halftime. Now listen, now it's on Disney.
Halftime.
Yeah, now it's on Disney Plus, which I had to get for my kids because they insisted they had to watch Hannah Montana when it came out. Okay, they're
goodness.
24 and 26. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they needed to have their Raven. That's So Raven and Hannah Montana was all they cared about.
Raven is a classic. I'll give them that.
They have all my passwords. That's how you kids live. So, so I had to get them that. But anyway, so I was watching it again. I couldn't even make it to halftime, Ashley. So if you want to cancel Hamilton, I'm okay with it. So,
okay, so first of all,
Jen hasn't ever seen it, right, Jen?
I haven't seen Hamilton.
Do you need my password, honey?
No, I have the free TV. I got it. I just don't care to watch it.
Yeah, it's okay. So Jen's over it too. All right, so Ashley,
so
go ahead.
I haven't seen Hamilton. I went to high school at the same school that Lin-Manuel Miranda attended.
Okay.
So he has been like shoved down my throat since I was in like the 8th grade.
Oh, he was, yes.
So by the time Hamilton came out, I was way over it. Not to mention, didn't have an extra $1,000 laying around.
What did he used to? Oh no, I saw it when it was here.
Why is it so expensive?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw it after it was off Broadway.
Theater so expensive, yeah. And I saw his play. So the first play of his that I saw was In the Heights. And that was fantastic. I saw it off Broadway, so it was a lot more accessible.
I've not
and
seen that yet, so I'll try.
It's very different from Hamilton. It's not.
Okay.
There's less rap. It's not a historical piece. It focuses on a community in Washington Heights.
When you anything with the historical, they've lost me anyway. So they were doomed to begin with.
I don't believe that. There's something corny about Hamilton. I'm sorry. Because it's a rap musical, but rap, it's just a little bit watered down. I mean, that's how I have felt about Hamilton.
All the basic white bitches love Hamilton.
Right.
I'm talking obsession.
Oh, obsession. Full tilt.
Thank
that
you.
is why they're willing to die on a hill for it right now. Okay, so let's look at this two ways, right?
Okay.
Like there's a group. I don't even want to talk about canceling Hamilton because I really feel
I'm
that
saying it as a joke. Like I could give a shit.
Right,
anyway,
exactly. Because the number of people who actually want to cancel Hamilton is nothing. They're getting a lot of talk because of the group that you're talking about who want to protect Hamilton at all costs. So why protect Hamilton? Why, in the context of everything going on, might a white person feel like Hamilton is sacred? Because of the exact reason that other people are criticizing it. Because it kind of just makes slavery okay.
So they don't
kind of in the background. It makes American history so much more palatable. It makes American history so much more palatable, right? Because it's
way too much credit.
I mean, I like I said, I haven't seen it, so just from a point of like the artistic expression, I can't say.
Because then they have to admit they spent $1,000 on tickets for something that they shouldn't have done in the first place. Like, I think that's more the issue. I don't think anybody's that deep. I think it's basic how they think they're going to look because they've got it on their Instagram and everything that they went and saw it, and then it flips, and then they're not the good person they thought they were.
See, it's interesting because I have yet to see anyone actually call for Hamilton to be quote unquote canceled.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I spend more of my time on like Black Twitter, so to speak, where people are definitely having open discussions about Hamilton. But I think the thing to realize is that these discussions have been happening since Hamilton was in previews and off Broadway. It's just that the people having the discussions have never had the platform. Nobody cared to hear them. There was a whole play staged that's like a critique of Hamilton called The Haunting of Lin-Manuel Miranda that came out years ago. And people have been writing. Yeah.